Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. We're not the only one you need. You are. We just show you how to get out of your own way. With your host, speaker, author, business coach, and consultant, David Dubé.
Welcome to Only One You Need Radio. It's your host, David Dubé. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. In this episode, I want to talk about removing overwhelm. Overwhelm is a huge thing that so many people have issues with, and I want to give you some actionable steps that can help remove overwhelm, if that's okay with you. Now, if it's not, obviously you know what to do, but if it is, if this is something you're interested in, do yourself a huge solid. Share this out with other people. Help other people by helping yourself. And make sure you subscribe. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there. If you're on the old iTunes, make sure you subscribe there as well. I appreciate it. So how do we do this? I think the first big step to overcoming overwhelm is to narrow things down, narrow the objectives down. So what is the ultimate goal? And then break that ultimate goal into smaller actionable steps. It's going to be the easiest thing to possibly do. It may not be the easiest necessarily, but it's what must be done. What we end up doing I've found this to be the case of myself and my clients as well, is even on a weekly basis, we have this goal that by the end of the week, we're supposed to have accomplished. The issue happens, we still don't have daily goals that enable us to achieve those smaller results that are leading towards that big one that we want by the end of the week. Because of that, we get lost in overwhelm and we end up doing very little or almost nothing at all. And then Friday rolls and then we're clamoring and trying to figure out exactly what it is that we need to do to get this stuff done. It's not helpful. So break everything down into not only, so depending on how big the project is that you're working on, is it 6 months? Is it 1 year? Then break it down into 6 months, then to monthly, then to weekly. And then from there, break it into daily actionable steps. Daily actionable steps. If your goal is to lose weight, then what you want to do is, instead of researching all the millions of diets out there, which is probably inevitably what you're doing, and then you're trying to figure out what's right for you, while you're researching, do something of action. I'm going to spend 30 minutes jogging, or I'm going to, and not just 30 minutes jogging. How about this? Smaller than that. Do a jog around the block. Go for a jog around the block. And then that's the only expectation you have of yourself, is going around one block. Here's the thing. Now, this is from someone, the gentleman's name is BJ Fogg, and he worked with Stanford University and came up with this thing called tiny habits. This is probably one of the coolest things, because when you start doing something that's so tiny, it's a tiny expectation for yourself to run around the block one time. And so you do that. And once you're done running around the block one time, you say to yourself, that wasn't so bad. And you go again, and then again, and again, until you've ran around the block more times than you thought you would. So that small habit that you wanted to create for yourself ended up being something that was much more beneficial to you. So it needs to be actionable stuff, not research stuff, actionable stuff, result-oriented stuff. Eventually, you'll have to come to a conclusion of the diet you want anyway, but then you have to take an actual result for that. A lot of people say, I'm dieting, but what they're really doing is they're just doing research on dieting, but not really dieting at all. And that's their excuse. It's like, well, I haven't found the right one for me. Well, you haven't tried it, actually. You haven't created an actionable step. At least put one foot in the door with the intention that the other one's going to follow instantly after, but you have to take that action right away. That's really what this is about. So make the action steps small enough that they're achievable every single day. And then the last part of that is to give yourself a reward afterwards. Reward yourself for completing whatever that step happens to be. Now, these rewards can be things you already reward yourself with during the day. Like maybe you take an afternoon nap, or you can't eat lunch until it's done, or can't eat breakfast till it's done, what have you. Whatever those rewards, those things you currently are doing, don't reward yourself until after something is accomplished. That enables you to feel gratification for doing something, and you have to do that gratification instantly after. Oftentimes what we end up doing, and I'm guilty of this too, is like, I'll reward myself later on. Well, let me ask you a question. When do you reward the dog for doing the trick? Instantly after the trick is done. That way, your mind can correlate that reasoning for that reward, and they kind of meld together. Like, aha. So this is a reason why we don't push off the reward. We want that reward to be fairly instant afterwards. So, as humans, we love instant gratification, and that also boosts our ability to go through the same cycle, to breaking down what is overwhelming us again and again and again. So the steps in order, right, is create more clarity. What is the ultimate goal that you're achieving? Okay, then break it down into the smallest possible steps. What I've personally have dealt with in my past before is I would have weekly goals, but I wouldn't set daily goals, and therefore I would still be overwhelmed. And then come Friday or Thursday, whenever the due date was, like the last day or two, I was like clamoring to figure out what I needed to get done in order to make it happen. And then I would be up all night working, not really good for, for your health or anything like that, trying to figure this out and working feverishly to finish it, when I could have broken it down into smaller, achievable habits every single day, or goals every single day, that would lead me to that result while incentivizing myself the entire process. Essentially, breaking that chain. And when I began to implement the same thing, I personally began to achieve a whole lot more in less time. And if that's something that you want to do, not just with overcoming, overwhelm, but really achievement in general, this is going to ultimately change. Well, it ultimately can change your life if you allow it to, but you have to follow the steps in order for that to happen. So anyway, if you felt this was useful, if you felt this was helpful, do other people a favor and share this out with them. I would greatly appreciate it. It's Dave Dubé. It's time that you be the person you're meant to be. Believe in all that you're capable of and become more than you thought imaginable. I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Make it a great day.